They thems have a new flag. No, the trans flag isn't getting retired yet. But Palestine's got competition. It's Venezuela, and Maduro's the martyr.
Hands up, Venezuela! Hands up, Venezuela! Free President Maduro!
Someone should tell that skirt guy that gay marriage is no bueno in Venezuela. That means it's banned. And it's not just skirts. In tampon territory, they're taking a break from Somalis and going hard on Hugo.
The U.S. empire bombed his grave. They want to destroy the memory of the hero Hugo Chavez. Hugo Chavez!
Democrats hosted No Kings protests all year long, and now they're standing with a real-life dictator. And not just any dictator, one that actually stole an election and stayed in power. The same thing they falsely accused Trump of doing. The DNC's all in. They're even fundraising off Maduro's arrest, sending out emails like he's the Spanish George Floyd. Kamala's on board. Kamala says capturing Maduro makes America less safe. Imagine Kamala president. She'd just say the D word. Don't. Kamala must have Biden brain because it was the auto pen that put a $25 million bounty on Maduro's head. Biden once said this: Trump talks tough on Venezuela but admires thugs and dictators like Nicolas Maduro. As president, I will stand with the Venezuelan people and for democracy. They put a bounty out, they called him dictator, they wanted him gone, and arrested Trump instead. Now Democrats are getting cornered by CNN.
In 2019, you wrote an op-ed and you called for Maduro to be gone. Isn't that what you want?
Well, the rest of that article was a criticism of President Trump's early moves to saber rattle around regime change.
Schumer, too. He's flip-flopping more than his raw burgers on the grill.
And the president brags about his Venezuela policy? Give us a break. He hasn't brought an end to the Maduro regime.
Maduro's a horrible, horrible person. But you don't treat lawlessness with other lawlessness. And that's what's happened here.
The same Democrats who complained about blowing up coke boats and demanded due process for narco fishermen are now wagging their fingers about arresting the biggest one and putting him on trial. Plus, Trump doesn't need Congress to pick up Maduro. Bush 41 didn't get permission to grab Noriega. Clinton didn't ask Congress if he could bomb the Balkans. And bombs away Barry didn't get congressional approval to turn Libya into rubble and Gaddafi into Swiss cheese. But according to today's Democrats, arresting a narco-terrorist dictator actually makes the world less safe.
Trump's attack on Venezuela will not make the United States and the world safer. Quite the contrary.
Okay, Kwame the Commie gave Trump a ring to express his displeasure.
I called the president and spoke with him directly to register my opposition to this act and to make clear that it was an opposition based on being opposed to a pursuit of regime change, to the violation of federal and international law, and a desire to see that be consistent each and every day.
Kwame promised to arrest Netanyahu if he ever set foot in his city, and now he wants to set Maduro free. Notice what they aren't talking about. They're not praising the Delta Force guys. They're not celebrating a flawless operation. Venezuela is 2 times the size of Germany and has got the population of Texas. It has the largest oil reserves on earth and had a brutal dictator running a narco empire, hooking our country on narcotics and letting the Chinese run wild. Democrats had no plan for that. Trump did. Pistol Pete set the record straight on the Sunday shows. Watch.
This was a law enforcement exercise. It was the Department of War in support of the Department of Justice pulling out an indicted person who ultimately will face justice. And Marco was clear there that this is not something you notify Congress about beforehand.
This wasn't a war. It was an arrest. And Hegseth isn't holding back anymore. He just censured seditious Mark Kelly for urging troops to resist Trump's orders. He might get his rank knocked down too. It's also why Trump won't brief Democrats before high-stakes missions. They just leak intel like they did during the Russia hoax, or tell troops to disobey orders. In the aftermath of the operation, China, Russia, Iran, and the Democrats came out against it. Everybody else gave a big hoorah to the troops. Fox and Friends weekend co-host Rachel Campos Duffy. All right, Rachel, how have the Democrats reacted to this successful operation?
Not well. But let me explain a few things. And let me make a prediction for you, Jesse. I predicted that in the next 2 years, 1 or 2 years, you are going to see a baby boom in Venezuela. And the number one name is going to be Donald. And the second name is going to be Marco. And then it will be Pete. And the reason is that what we just witnessed was the most historic and consequential action taken in the Western Hemisphere in the last 100 years. He just removed our president, President Trump, with the help of Marco and Pete Hegseth, removed a communist cancer that was running rampant through the Western Hemisphere. They also removed a CCP outpost right in our backyard. And for that, they will be written down in the history books. The left is reacting the way they're reacting, not because they're Maduro sympathizers, but because they are Maduro. This is a hero to them. They are communists, and that is why you see Mondani and Bernie Sanders and everybody else supporting them. And that is why they're not at all troubled by the fact that Nicolas Maduro and Delcy Rodriguez, who is the vice president right now, we can talk a little bit about that in a second, both of them have executed and imprisoned and tortured all of their political opponents, as many as they could get their hands on. And we're talking about thousands of them. And so this is a very revealing moment for the left, because this is who they are. This is why, Jesse, they didn't blink an eye after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. In fact, many of them openly celebrated it on social media. This is what communism is. It's about force, it's about power, and what President Trump did right now by removing him is a message to the Chinese and to every other communist and cartel in the Western Hemisphere. This is a day of liberation. Donald Trump is a hero throughout all of Latin America. This is an incredible moment. And what concerns me the most right now, Jesse, is that because Donald Trump, President Trump, wants to maintain order and not have this devolve into chaos, he has left the vice president, Delcy Rodriguez, there. She is the brains of this operation. She's actually much more dangerous than Nicolas Maduro himself. And she is there. And my concern is that in wanting to control this chaos and not allowing things to devolve, it's like saying, we're going to get rid of Bernie Sanders, but we're going to give the keys to AOC and Mondani. Or we're going to get rid of Joe Biden, and we're going to give the keys to Kamala. The only way to deal with these communists is to politically crush them. And that is why I think Maria Corina Machado, who won the election in 2024, in that summer, I believe she is, with the help of our government and with the help of United States resources, she will be the best one to carry this forward. She won the election. She has the heart and the love of her people. She has the respect of all the conservative, growing conservative presidents.
Yeah, Trump says she doesn't have what it takes at this point.
And with U.S. help, she can do it.
Yeah, maybe.
Say that again?
Trump says she just doesn't have the clout right now, but that could change. And this lady that's running things now, that could change too. We'll see. We're just not being rash and rushing things. I think that's the play. Great to see you. Happy New Year. And we'll see you soon.
Happy New Year to you, Jesse. Yeah, a lot of freedom breaking out. It's wonderful.
J.D. Vance attacked by a trans.
Of course he. Who else?
Walking the plank. He just dropped. Tim Walz is finally walking the plank. He just dropped out of the race for governor.
Every minute that I spend defending my own political interest would be a minute I can't spend defending the people of Minnesota against the criminals who prey on our generosity and the cynics who want to prey on our differences. So I've decided to step out of this race, and I'll let others worry about the election while I focus on the work that's in front of me for the next year.
Waltz was almost a heartbeat away from the presidency, and now he can't even win re-election in his own state. But he's not saying adios just yet. The Waltz family is already plotting a comeback.
I'm just getting started. I am now being let loose because of this, people. So good luck, Donald Trump and all the Republicans, because you have not seen the last of me or him, to be quite honest.
Maybe she could run with Klobuchar. Word on the street, Amy cooked up a deal to step in for Waltz, to keep the governor's mansion out of Republicans' hands. They had a secret meeting Saturday and had a nice little chat. If she wins, there's going to be an open Senate seat. You know who'll need a job? Tampon. Because once he retires, he'll be broke and homeless. He doesn't own any real estate, any stocks, any bonds. He'll have to go on welfare. Too bad the pirates stole it. But Timmy doesn't look too worried. Before dropping out, he treated himself to a last supper.
Okay, what'd you get?
All right, Culver's. We're repping Culver's tonight. I'm just going to say this. Their mushroom and Swiss burgers are very difficult to beat, and onion rings.
Does he think dropping out gets him off the hook? He shouldn't. He's Captain Hook, and his ship's already sinking. 47's not patching up the holes. In fact, he's sending in the troops. Look at that, 2,000 of them.
This very stupid, low IQ governor, he's a very stupid man, because I had a campaign against him with JD, and he's a stupid man, and he's a corrupt politician. The Somalians are ripping off our country to the tune of, looks like $19 billion, but that's only what they can find. So usually when you're looking at 19, that would mean it could be 50.
Trump's onto something. The more we discover, the worse it looks. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt joins me now. First of all, Happy New Year, Caroline. I hope your New Year's Eve was better than Maduro's. The situation in
that
Minnesota,
I can assure you, Jeff.
Does it surprise you what's happening with Tim Waltz?
Unfortunately, it doesn't. The scale of the fraud that the Trump administration, with the help of great independent journalists like Nick Shirley, is uncovering right now is surely shocking. But President Trump has been calling out Tim Waltz for his incompetence and corrupt leadership for a very long time. And Trump was right about everything. This is another example of that, which is why Governor Waltz is dropping out of the race for re-election today. This is a man who can no longer even win the support of the voters within his home state because his policies have failed them. And now the great people of Minnesota, a state that was once known as the land of 10,000 lakes, has been turned into the land of 10,000 Somali schemes because of their governor. And don't forget, this is a guy who was at the top of the Democrat Party's ticket, the number 2. He was Kamala Harris's running mate just about a year ago until President Trump crushed them last November. And it was in large part because the president was calling out this fraud. And so this has been a day one priority for the Trump administration, Jesse. The Department of Justice has convicted and prosecuted nearly 100 defendants in Minnesota. And because of these new details and this new reporting that has come to light, this is a all hands on deck across the entire government effort. We are surging resources. You saw today, the Department of Homeland Security announced we have nearly 2,000 agents from the Homeland Security Investigations Team. The FBI is on the ground, and we're freezing money. HHS cut off funding for child care centers and for daycares. That's USDA Secretary Rollins has been asking Governor Waltz to see the recipients of SNAP in his state. So this is all hands on deck, rest assured. It's a top priority for President Trump. And he believes that Governor Waltz is criminally liable. And I think the Department of Justice is going to find out.
Well, they should, because it's too much money to lose. You can't say, oh, oops, I don't know where it went, especially when all of those whistleblowers going crazy and the AG there, Ellison, acting like he was running PR for these Somalians. So down in Venezuela, there's a lot of action, and the country is thrilled with the precise, flawless military execution overseen by the commander-in-chief and the team. What comes next?
Well, first of all, I have to give incredible credit to President Trump, Secretary Hegseth, Secretary Rubio, our Vice President, J.D. Vance, the entire team across the board. This is undoubtedly one of the greatest foreign policy and military achievements the United States of America has ever seen. And as Joe Biden used to falsely say, we can now truly say America is back, thanks to the courage of President Trump, thanks to the leadership of his amazing cabinet, and thanks, of course, to our brave men and women in the United States military. So now this exact same team of foreign policy leaders who have been running President Trump's Venezuela foreign policy this entire time will continue to do that. We have a lot of leverage over the remaining Maduro government right now. I know Secretary Rubio is in constant correspondence with them. We're going to make sure this country aligns with the interests of the United States of America.
All right, and congratulations to you too. That's great news for you and your family, and we love you guys. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Johnny in Fort Myers, Florida.